Hello, everybody, and welcome. Tonight, we're going to have a chat about angels and angel encounters and just what experience we've had just for the fun of it. I'm going to let Virginia start because she got a message today from the angels. You can tell them your story.
Nice.
I did. Well, I was sitting down and I was given the message. I'm planning on doing one activity in the house a day because I'm moving and ranging things. And I got the sudden inspiration to move a chair from one room to the other. And in order to do that, I had to move a bookshelf. And so while I was moving the bookshelf, this book popped up. Oops,
Ah,
hang on.
Back a little bit. Back a little bit more. Down. Down a little bit. It's angels. What is it? Angels.
Angels, the lifting of the veil,
What?
how to open the door to the angelic realm. And I thought, oh, how fitting. And so I sat with it and I thought to myself, well, I've only got 5 minutes till we start the discussion. So I tuned into spirit and I said, what would you have me know? And they said, look at page 47. So I went to page 47 and it started to talk about the awareness of the angelic realm, and the two key ingredients would be to open your heart and be open to it, but also step into the power of like now, to be in the moment and be, the more present you are in the moment, the more able they are to step into to communicate with you. And then I got thinking about my own experiences, and I guess that's what happened to me. I distinctly remember having an experience when I was 7, where I saw an angel, and I was aware of the presence. I was preparing for my Holy Communion, and I had learnt about prayer, and so I used to spend a lot of time as a child. I was in that habit of praying every night until I fell asleep, and I remember waking up and looking across at the bed of my sister and just seeing this angel hovering above her, um, and it felt different. So when I was much younger, about 4 or 5, I used to see spirit in physical form. And of a night time, the house or the home, we lived with our great grandfather. The home was very busy, and I guess that's how I became aware of spirit or ancestors. I knew that they were family that were there, but this felt different. It was calmer, and it felt more protective with family, with the ancestors. I just felt this intense love and care, but with the angelic presence, I just felt this calm and protection. So I had that awareness of it. And do you know what? A few years ago, I went away to a retreat, and while I was at this retreat, I was setting the intention and praying, and I went to lie down on the bed, and it was in a Catholic monastery turned event venue, and I felt that same presence of spirit come in, and what I understand as angelic presence. So, um, yeah, I guess that's where I am with angels.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, that's interesting. That's good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, have you had any encounters like other than just
I
feeling the?
remember I remember years ago going for a reading with I used to my first teacher where I used to go for development with, and I went to her for a reading. And at the time in my life, I had a lot of fear. There was a lot of indecision in my life, and there were a lot of events going on which I didn't have a lot of control over, mainly my son's health and that sort of stuff. And I had this tremendous fear. And so I went for this reading. And when I was sitting there waiting for her to come into the room, I just sat and set my intention, started praying. And I just felt the presence of this enormous being behind me. And I instinctively knew it was an angel. Like I could even feel like the wings and everything. And I just sat there and I just got this feeling of calm. And it's like, it's okay, Virginia, this is all being taken care of. Like it's all been taken care of way before you were even aware of it. And she came in and I said to her, I'm too scared to look, but can you see an angel behind me? She said, well, the room's full of lots of things, and I'm sure one of them's an angel. So I don't know if she could see what I could feel, but she was definitely aware of, spiritual presence within the room that I feel, when the heart is open and the presence of mind is to stay present, and we're just sort of sitting in that inquiry, wondering sort of mind, I feel that's when the angelic presence is more likely to step in. And they step in with reminders. I was praying recently about something, setting about the path of my life, where I'm headed. And I was taken back and I was reminded of a time. So once upon a time, I lived over in America. And I was married. I had a very different life then. I was married to an Orthodox priest. And so I was a minister's wife. And somebody from our congregation phoned up and they said, we're having a phenomenon and we just don't understand it. They had a picture of the Virgin Mary and this picture started to secrete oil. Anyway, we went over there and it was true. It was happening. It was this phenomena that nobody could explain. And so for 12 months, every day I would go there. And the more I sat with it, the more I prayed, the more I was led away from the life I was living. And it just didn't make sense. It went against everything that I'd ever, like I was raised a Catholic. I'd married into an Orthodox faith. I was living a very Orthodox life. And this phenomena that was happening with spiritualism, I guess I would say, but it was the presence of spirit making themselves known and directing me to a path that I was not at all prepared for. Took me completely 180, away from the life I was living. And so as I was praying the other day, I was shown that memory and the steps that had happened from then until now, and where it's ultimately led me to where I need to be. And they were like, it's okay, just trust that the steps will unfold as they need to unfold, and you'll be where you're meant to be in the next stage or phase. So I feel like when the angels communicate, their presence is soft. It's soft, it's reassuring, it's peaceful, and it feels very safe. Safe. I feel like if I could put it down to one word, that their presence is just safe and very secure. And they show with memories, with visions. It's like you're seeing something it's almost like you're dreaming while you're awake. And so they sort of drop, and this sort of stuff drops in. It's not like I go to seek it just sort of drops in. And I guess that's how I know I'm with the angels, just that subtle change in energies and the knowingness of that presence leads me to recognize angelic presence when it's there. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at with it.
Yeah, nice. I
Yeah.
like that. Oh, it's so cool. Anyone else?
I'm not sure whether I heard an angel the other day, but I was just I don't know, things just have like I'm like sorry, what was your name?
Virginia.
Is it
Virginia?
Virginia?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get a picture and like I was watching I don't know if you've ever heard of Brian Ridgway. I was watching one of his breathing technique things, and while I was
Mm.
actually watching his, I had a picture come up of this lady. She was absolutely beautiful, but it was like a photo, but not a photo, which I had to get in the mediumship thing. It was a photo, but not a photo. I'll
Mm.
explain that one in a minute. But this lady came up. She was absolutely beautiful, beautiful black long hair with a green V-neck top. And she was very, very attractive. But there was a reason why she came up, and I still can't work out why she came up. But anyway, I did message Brian Ridgway to say that she did come up because I'm thinking that might be a connection to him and see what happens. And then the other day I was looking for a little card for the Jetty Pass. I don't know if I told you, I couldn't find it, my card anywhere in the usual places. And then I went to go to sleep and I heard this really soft, quiet voice say, check your old purse. But it was very, very calm, very subtle. So I
Mm.
said, well, okay, I'll check it in the morning. And I went to check my old purse in the morning, and yeah, the card was in there. So it was just like, okay,
Yeah.
thanks very much, So like if I get to hear a message like that, that I know is not
Mm.
me, um, I would have thought, oh, look, check the old purse. Like old, I would have thought, oh, I'll go and check my other purse. But
Mm.
because it was check your old purse, I knew that it wasn't the way I would word it. Do you know what I mean? So I know
Mm.
when they say something, it's different to when the way I would say it.
Different
Like if
language.
someone yeah, like if I'm walking around and like the other week I had, or before Christmas, I had, there's going to be a passing. Now, I wouldn't say it like that because
Mm.
that's not the way I would say it. So I know it's actually a message, which was a message for me that someone was going to pass. But the reason they told me is because it was a person I was seeing for Bowen, not, it wasn't someone that I see, but he was very good at his job, very nice person, very easy to talk to. And I've been seeing him for years. And he ended his life. That's why I was told that there was going to be a passing
Mm.
because I wasn't expecting that to happen with that person. So I basically got forewarned about that. But that's the sort of thing, like I'll get a picture or I'll hear something or feel something or, yeah, I'm always guided wherever. Like we have my husband has an ex, he's not here home at the moment. So she's got bipolar. So I try to quite often avoid her because I know that she could be hit and miss, don't really have a lot to do with her. And I'll be going to the shop or something like that. And they'll just say to me, oh, you were going to go there first and then go there. No, I need you to go to the other one first and then come back to the second one. And I
Mm.
thought, okay. So I started walking, and as I'm walking on the left-hand side, going to the furthest place and then coming back to the chemist, she was actually on the other side, walking to the chemist. So I'm
Mm.
like, thank you. Thank you.
Mm.
You told me to go to the other one first. And now I know why you told me that. So it's like I just trust anything and everything I get because it's always guiding all the time. It's just yeah, so I'm not sure quite if the angels or guides, but when I started doing it, the lady said I had lots of angels around because I was trying to do the meditate and I kept getting my nose tickled in my ear and like she said, I can see them. They're just really annoying you, aren't they? I said, yeah, I can feel them. They're annoying me while I'm trying to get ready. So it's very hard to differentiate sometimes, but I think the subtle voice is different to the guiding voice. That there is a difference in the subtle energies of the voice, very hard to describe.
Mm.
Like if you get a vision of something there that means something, but if you get a vision in a reading, then it's different again. Like I might get a picture, like the other day, I got a picture of what was it, a poodle, and I thought, oh yeah, this is about an animal, but there's no frame around the picture. And so I thought, well, that's really odd because, there's no frame around this picture. And it turned out it was a friend that came through to let the other friend know, who is also a nurse, that in a nursing home, she used to paint pictures of poodles and dogs. And I actually saw this person walking from behind with the poodle as well. And then she said to me, oh, that's because the painting is that painting, and the paintings were put on the ceiling for the people with dementia so they could see the pictures. And I was like, wow. So like at first it didn't make any sense at all. So I'm like, it's not a photo, it's a painting, and I'm like, oh, you're just keeping me guessing. So it's just like, I just think it's just a lot of fun, and I try not to be too serious with it. And I think that's something I've learned, to be more relaxed with it, because the more relaxed you are and the more you journal, the more your confidence grows, because if you write it down, there's some sort of connection with that as well. So if you get something like, or something, an angel tells you something, or a future thing, write down the date, the time, and what they said, because 9 times out of 10, something will come up and you'll go, yep, they did tell me that.
Yeah.
So it's always good to not let it pass by. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I've had many of our angel encounters, to be honest. And one of them that stands out was one time I was in a bit of a rush to go to my chiropractor. But to go to my chiropractor, I had to drive through the bush. So I'm driving through this bush and I'm in a hurry. And before I knew it, I looked up and this kangaroo had jumped out in front of me. And then I saw this angel come and grabbed it around the neck, and it went that fast and picked it up and put it onto the side of the road, and I missed. And it was further in the bush by the time I'd sort of got to where the kangaroo was. It was so fast. And I was telling my chiropractor, who's very spiritual, about it when I got there. And yeah, he was having a bit of a giggle to himself. But that was one of the encounters I had, which I was very grateful for, knowing that they were there to protect me, especially from something like that, because I was moving along on a dirt road and I wouldn't have been able to stop in time. But this angel, I'll never forget that for my whole time that I live. I'll always remember that one. And I was also with a friend of mine one time who come and see me. She was very upset. And she wanted me to work on her with a bit of Reiki. And it turned out her baby was breech. And she was beside herself. And I tell you what, I think all this encounter has actually turned this girl into who she is now. And it's a little energy bunny the way it is. She's quite a funny girl, and she's grown up beautifully. But what happened was she was beside herself, so we decided we'd do Reiki on her. And anyway, so she was there, and every time I put my hands on the baby, it was like it was a disco dance going on, and this little wiggling and carrying on. I would carry on, then I'd move away and do the rest of the body and work it. And this went on for quite some time. Anyway, I was quite calm. I could feel a sense of calm coming over me and over her. And anyway, as I was doing the work, this huge angel just presented itself right in front of me. And she could actually, because I was channeling the energy, she could see it too. And this huge angel with these massive wings just stood there in front of me and just went like this with the baby in its hands to show us this baby. Anyway, so we took that as a good sign, and it turned out that what it was telling us was when she left after the session was the baby actually turned that night. So with everything that happened, to let us know that everything's going to be okay, she'll be born. And with the Reiki, of course, we were tormenting this baby for a while because we thought it was quite funny. Every time we touch it, it'd start disco dancing, and then it'd stop, and then it'd be disco dancing and stop. So we played for a little bit and had a bit of fun at the same time. And I was trying to take her mother's mind off of things that were going on and that. But when this angel stepped in, and I couldn't believe, because she doesn't do any of this sort of stuff, but she could see it because of the energy I was channeling. It was channeling into her, and as it was going in, she could actually see what I was seeing. And she was in tears. You should have seen it. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. And I'll never forget that encounter neither. And the fact that this girl now is over 21 and it's an energy bunny. Oh my God. She has got so much energy, it's not funny. I slept in her bed one time when I was visiting, and I had to get them to clear all the energy out of the bed because I couldn't sleep because her ritual energy that was in that bed was keeping me awake. And I'm like, like this, I mean, okay, I need to slow this down a fraction for me and that. But no, it turned out a wonderful, wonderful thing in the end. So it was beautiful to
Lovely
see.
story.
Yeah, it's and like the size of this angel that stood before me was absolutely huge, huge. And I'll never forget that. And I know they can be bigger than what the one I saw. And I have seen others, but I'm going to let someone else tell a story now. Who else would like to go next? I am. Yeah. What about you, Patricia? You look like you've got one tucked in there.
I have. I hadn't thought of it for ages, but I remember when I was doing my Reiki attunement, that would have probably have been an encounter that I can go, that was definitely an angel. Which, sometimes you're not sure, it could be a guide or something else, but and it was just the love. It was just like, just couldn't describe how much love I felt. And almost, I'll say it because obviously we've all had and I have, you're going through the self-esteem stuff. And when you feel so much love, you're like, I don't deserve all this. It was just so much. It was just full on. I have been told that, same again, as you go through the years in your readings and stuff, I've been told I've got angelic presence around me. And it wouldn't surprise me because I've often gone to angel cards or, to the fairy realms and those magical things which I think are related. So, I believe in unicorns and just because I do. And I think I've mentioned it once before, definitely that was more of a visual where I saw an angel, a huge one, behind my father many years ago and thought, oh my God, he's dying, but he was just asleep in the chair. And then having to carry on normal afterwards because I wasn't going to tell him. But just recently, I'll take you for a little walk because I've changed some things in my house and I've become very attracted to blue and also gold. And I purchased these recently when I was feeling a bit low and I went via an op shop and there were some angel wings in the window and I got them marked down in price. And yeah, they've been sitting on the floor. And I heard a little voice say, we don't want to be on the floor anymore. So now they're on the wall. And I like where they are because it's sort of near the entrance of the house, almost like a protective thing. But I would say to name them, definitely felt Archangel Michael. And when you go through those therapy sessions and you need that extra assistance, I've felt his presence really strong. And probably Raphael, I'd say too, in Reiki sessions or, that I've done for other people or that as well. But I don't know about the other names. I just know I know they're there. I think even when I was younger and I hadn't even picked up a book and I didn't have any education in religion, it was just, they're there.
Well, one things with Raphael is that he's connected to, and quite a few others are too, but he's sort of the main one that's connected to the Emerald Fountain. And they have these scepters, which they top up the Emerald Fountain energy with, and they bring it in and they use it in healings within your body and stuff like that. So you can ask them to bring that energy in to areas that need healing as well, which is absolutely beautiful.
I have a painting as well. It's a Renaissance painting. I won't take you, but that's at the other end of the house. It's quite well known. I can't think of the name of it. I think it shows a Greek god, which is, he's got the angel wings and all the rest of it. And I have had experiences where I've felt that bad that it's almost I've been like that picture where the angel enfolds you in the wings and you just feel, and I'm just going cold then, and you feel that safety and you feel that certainty and you feel that love, and it's just, you can breathe, you know. Yeah, it's beautiful, really beautiful.
Yeah. I experienced that after my Reiki one many, many years ago when I was driving home. I just felt overwhelming, and these wings just come around me and
It's
wrap
so
around it.
overwhelming. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's just not of this world, and yeah.
Oh, Astrid, it's got her hand up.
Yeah, I thought I'd do it officially.
Nice. Astrid,
Well,
what's your question?
I love reading the stories about angels, and they don't always appear as angels with wings, but sometimes in the form of just a person at the right spot at the right time, helping you where no one else would do that. And I think I've had two of those situations happening in my life. So the last one was a couple of months before I would emigrate and get married in Australia. And we had to go through that whole visa application process, which is quite nerve-wracking. And then in the end, it was August, and my wedding date was 11/11/11. So it started to come close. So I dared to call, and I found out that they had just started with my application. So it sounded all good. And then 2 weeks later, there was something, and I called, and I got the message, that person who was doing your visa application is on long leave for half a year. And I was like totally in panic. Now, who is going to take care of my visa application then? Because my wedding date is very nearing. And they said, oh, well, actually, no one. And I was like, oh my gosh, this needs to change. And then I cried out to the universe, like, help, help, help. This is going wrong. And then suddenly, out of the blue, within a few days, I got an email, I got phone calls, and there was a new person from I don't know where put on my case. And she worked really efficiently. And half October, I got my visa. And I really believe that when I would contact her after my visa application was granted, that she probably doesn't work there anymore. And I had a similar situation when in the year when my daughter was born. I was, after a job had finished, I got a little bit of maternity leave payment from the government, and they made a mistake and they paid to a wrong bank account number. So they made a mistake in the numbers. And I figured it out with some phone calls. So it all got corrected and it became well. But then at the end of the year, I suddenly got a letter from that government institution, like, hey, you have a debt of 1,000 euros or something, and you need to pay it back by the 5th of January, let's say. So it was only a couple of weeks. And you can put in a complaint if you think it's not right, but you need to pay first, and then the complaint will be treated. So I panicked about that one, and I freaked out because it was a lot of money when you're just having a little baby. I started calling and I said, this is not what I need to pay back. You have paid it to the wrong bank account number. So you need to find out who is the owner of the wrong bank account number, and that's the person who needs to pay it back. So in the end, it was clear that it wasn't me who had to pay that back. But no one would change it in the computer system. So I asked the universe for help before that date that I needed to pay it. And then one day I decided to put in a complaint. So I started with a phone call, and I got this mail on the phone, and he totally got it. And he said, give me 1 hour. I'm going to call to that department that you have already contacted, and I will sort it out and call you back. And he did call back, and I was totally amazed. And he said, no, you are absolutely 100% right. And it's all sorted. You don't need to pay. You don't need to put in a complaint. And it's all arranged. And I was not trusting it. So I said, can you maybe send a confirmation letter to me so that I have the evidence that it's all sorted and that I'm 100% sure? And he was like, yeah, okay, I will send it out today. And normally when you get from an official organization a letter, it takes mostly 2 days at least. But the next day I had the letter. And I said to my husband back then, like, I am sure that this was like divine intervention. This person has been put there to arrange it for me, that it's solved. And I'm sure that when I will call, the person doesn't work there anymore, or they have no idea who it is. But yeah, I got the letter, and I believe that both times were like angel interferences in the form of a human at the right spot at the right time.
They call them earth angels.
Yes.
Yeah.
Earth angels. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that as well.
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Me too.
I do believe that Kerry's an earth angel.
Me.
I've always believed that since I've met you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the stuff that you do. And not only that, there was a time when I went through hell and you were there for me at that time. So, yeah, she's
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you.
You're welcome. And people can sense that energy around you anyway. So,
People take advantage of it too sometimes.
yeah. But they get their karma.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
just
nice-
it's my lesson to learn to set boundaries. That's it.
And to say no.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's a nice story, Astrid. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That was so good. Excellent. So, Kerry, you may as well continue on with the story you might have.
I suppose there's been lots of incidences where I've asked for help. And I don't know if they were angels or not, but I feel it was something obviously bigger than me. I've had angels appear during Reiki sessions and healings on people, particularly my oldest daughter's friend. Her mum was an alcoholic, and she would come just as a bit of respite. Every Tuesday night, she would come and stay at our house, and she called it spaghetti night because I'd always make a big batch of spag bowl for the kids. And one night I did Reiki on her, and it was just beautiful. It was we were all in tears, and there was an angel. You could see this massive angel at the end of the massage table where she was lying. And I guess they were there just to give her lots of love, and because she wasn't receiving that a lot at home. There were lots of issues with her mum, and there still are now that she's an adult as well. But it was just nice for her to feel, to have the Reiki healing, and to know that she's welcome there whenever, not just Tuesdays, but also this angel was just pouring this love into her. I use it whenever I go. I ask the parking angels for a car park.
Yeah.
And I think when my marriage ended, and it wasn't a very pleasant ending. We both had to still live under the same roof, but I needed to get out for the time being. It was a financial thing. We couldn't, sell the house immediately and all that. So I got on the internet and I applied for this job up on the Tiwi Islands as the baby nurse up there. And I'd never put myself, out of my comfort zone like that before. But I just felt like this, I don't know, it was a really weird time. I felt like there was something pushing me, like there was no tomorrow, to put the application in. And then the lady who was my manager, she rang me. We just spoke to each other like we're old friends and like we knew each other. And she said, well, I think you're the right one for the job, but let's do the interview by Zoom first. And it was just a really smooth transition. And I think I was sent up there to be taken out of the situation, to see things clearly and to learn lessons and to process things over the next 12 months. Plus, I learned a lot living on the island. There was a lot of hardship. You know, it was a remote Aboriginal community. But yeah, it was massive. And I believe that I was looked after by angels. I've often felt like I've been protected a lot throughout my life. If, you know, things I could have gone down wrong roads and got caught up in different crowds and things, but I've always felt like there's something protecting me. And I've also done a house clearing once on the house that my daughter and her friend were living in. And I tell you, I don't know what it was. It was some sort of horrible entity. I don't think it was even, I don't know what it was, but it was a very nasty entity. And I called in Archangel Michael, and I swear Archangel Michael had him pinned against the wall with his hand around his throat. And they were just bouncing off the wall left, right, and centre. It was unbelievable. But yeah.
Yep, I believe that. I've seen that myself. They fly off with them. And Ezekiel, he's good at it as well. He does a lot of that sort of stuff too. But yeah, it's amazing. I just get them to come in and remove them from the situation. But I remember when you went to those islands and how quickly that came to pass.
It was
like,
unbelievable.
wow. Because one minute I was talking to you, the next minute, bang, I'm going. It's like,
Well, it's funny because I'd be asking for signs, and I said, show me signs. And I'd see Darwin number plates everywhere. And I'd see, even though it wasn't in Darwin, it was 80 kilometres north of Darwin off the coast. But I'd see that, and I'd see Northern Territory. I'd see trucks with Northern Territory. I went to a fundraiser, movie night, and they had a raffle. And I said, if I'm going to the Tiwi Islands, make that lady pull my hat out and my name out of the hat first thing. So she did. It was unbelievable. The synchronicities were just one after the other.
When it's meant to be, though, I would agree. Things just kind of align and fall into place, and doors are open where they wouldn't necessarily be open before. You know, where there's a lot of resistance, it's often a sign of, okay, this is not where you're meant to be, and you're being protected by something even if you don't know it. And when you will get those signs, and then you just sort of step in with wonder, I wonder what this will be, and everything aligns and opens up. It's like spirit is directing you down that path.
Yeah, I totally agree.
There's one thing you have to remember though with the angels, you have to be exact on what you ask for. Like when you ask them for help, you can't just be open-ended. You have to be precise. I remember when I went and had this major operation, they had to open me up and practically gut me like a fish. But and I remember I went there, and the first thing I did, I was told, I went back to Louise Hay's book, and I went and read that. And I thought, okay, so I've read that, Heal Your Life, you know, one. And but then when I went into the hospital and I was going in for the operation, I called on all the angels and I asked them to be in the operation with me and help with the healing and assist in anything that needs to be removed and assist in my healing. And I'll never forget that. I went in there and everything was so calm and clear. And I went in there, and when I came out, I had no pain, nothing. I went through it so smoothly, except for where I tore my stitches because I got up, and they get you up too early. And of course, when I sat down, I used my stomach muscles, and that's just something that had happened because I used my stomach muscles when I wasn't meant to. But I don't know how anyone sits down without using them. But And but after that, I had no pain, I had no complications because I asked for them to be with me. And I could see as I was going into there, these whole heap of angels around me just coming into the surgery with me. It was quite funny. And I knew that I was going to be okay, and I knew I was going to be safe. And so they stayed with me. But a lot of mistakes people make is they don't ask correctly when they talk to the angels, because the angels can only do as much as what you ask. So if you say, "Oh, angels protect me," they go, "Okay," but they're not sure what they're protecting you from, or angels just bring me something, or you have to go into detail, like angels protect me from this dog that's confronting me down in front of me, and then the angel will come in and go, "Okay, we'll get rid of that dog." But they also are measured too with your lessons as well. So sometimes too, when you ask them for something, they're going to look at the fact that is there a lesson involved with this? So they may protect you from that time if you're not ready. But when you're ready to accept a lesson, sometimes people think that they forego them, but they haven't. They've opened you up to let you learn that lesson, and they're there to support you through that lesson. So it might be someone or something you have to confront, which you don't want to. But when you're ready, they will give you that encouragement and give you that little shove to go into that, but they'll protect around it. So they'll allow you to stand forward and guide you through your actual lesson. And when you come out the other side, they're there to heal and support you. So that's why it's interesting to always be clear on your intention when you ask an angel for something, because there's a lot of people that don't ask correctly, and they wonder why their angels are not helping them, because they're not giving enough information around what their intention is. Which I find
and I believe your intention needs to be of something that is worthy of either helping yourself or helping others. Like if you ask for something really peculiar and you might not get it. It's interesting. I sat there one day on the lounge. I was feeling a bit down, like, oh, I could really do with I really would like to get a few readings because I haven't had any for a while, And then within half an hour, I got a message from a lady saying she wanted a reading. And I said, yeah, that's 12:30 is fine. And then she said, oh, and by the way, there's three of us. Because I said a few, so I had three at once. So there you go. Even though I said a few, they took it as three. And they gave me three at once. So I thought, well, that's very interesting. I have to be very careful how I ask next time. I want one.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to say a ton of readings.
I know. I don't want that many. Because if you've ever been to a festival and done a whole day of readings, it's very draining. It can be very draining, even though you separate yourself from each one, and you get to the end of the day, you put your bubble up and everything. It can still be draining because you're also reading amongst, say, 6 or 7 other readers. So you're picking up energy of people walking past. The whole thing is full of energy, basically.
No,
you don't realise till the next day. It's like, oh.
No, I'm the opposite. I get energized as I do it because I've been taught how to clear and how to set myself up for the next one. And with like some of the people I've trained with, like Tony Stockwell and James and that, they say if you're getting drained, you're not setting yourself up correctly, because you shouldn't be getting drained at all. You should be actually energized. Reading's supposed to be like a party, as they say. You're excited.
Oh yeah, I was energized. Yeah, I was energized. It's just the next day. The next day I felt tired, I think, because it was, it's 9 till 5. It's a long day.
Oh yeah.
You've only got like an hour break. I think it's the talking that drained me, because I don't normally spend a whole day talking to people.
Oh, I had to.
So I think that sort of drain, not the other drain, but it can be. And if you're tired, it will drain your energy a bit more, I guess, too. You kind of got to be really, but I kind of felt them all around me as I was driving there, because I took about 20 minutes to drive there, but I could feel the presence before I even got there, which was nice.
You may
Yeah.
need to change your mindset a little bit there, Yvonne, because you keep saying it drains me, it drains me. But the truth is that the light and energy from the light and any consciousness isn't actually draining. It's a higher vibration, so it should lift you. And if you change your mindset and let yourself know that it lifts me every time, you'll be that energized and you won't go into that drained stuff, feeling drained. Because the thing is too that a lot of us go into that mindset because we've been told that.
I
Different.
think
Yeah.
you're right, Janet. I think you're right, Janet. And it's very much like the performers on, I mean, I don't mean it egotistically, but you sort of you do your performance and then the next day is really ordinary because maybe it's not tired, it's just that you're not in that elevated state anymore. And then
That's
maybe
what
we
I
associate
reckon.
that with feeling tired. So you sort of,
Yeah.
and performers have that problem. That's why they get addictions because they want to keep that high. So it's just that,
It's very
yeah.
high.
And that's why
And I
it's really
think because,
important to learn to shift between those energies. And that's one of
yeah,
the
you're
things when
right.
you do
Yeah.
ascension work, you learn to shift between those energies. So you must be able
Yeah.
to come down when you need to, go up when you need to. But the thing is, a lot of times when they teach you that stuff, they're teaching you that, oh, you have to go up, you have to go up. But you've got to learn to be able to go up, hold, and then come down and hold and bring that energy down with you as you lower it as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's lots of different ways that you can do those sorts of things. But yeah,
I suppose if you have if I've had the break in between, that's fine. But in that case, if it's one after the other, because you're not, how do I explain that? You're not like having 10 minutes to go down before the next person comes. So someone said, oh, next time just tell the angels to take the person in spirit with them when they leave. And you can do that as a quick one
you can also do
rather
that
than having to do,
with your
all the
guide that's
clearing.
there. The guide that's there to help you with your mediumship. That guide can do that. And they'll do it automatically if you trust them.
I've been
And
told to ask for
Yeah.
more energy too, ask for
Okay.
it, pull it in.
yeah, it's interesting stuff. It really is.
Oh yeah, there's so much to learn all the
Emma
time.
will,
It's,
Emma will
Isn't
learn this.
it? Yeah.
Em will learn this shortly because she's going to the retreat. When you get put on a spot by some top mediums and you have to do speed readings, you don't get that 10 minutes to set yourself up. So they're teaching you how to do it without having to set yourself up, to be on the spot ready to go. And I remember we done these speed readings and oh my God, we had less than 5 minutes. There was no connecting in that. And then we did blind speed readings where they were not to tell you the answer and they had to tap you. 1 tap for yes, 2 taps for no. And trying to work out how to, are you on the right track? Are you not? Well, you know what? It's an interesting thing. I loved it actually, because once you get going, the energy just lifts. And it's like, but if you stand there and you doubt yourself and don't get into it, what happens is your energy doesn't lift and then it drops and you lose the connection and then you get flat and tired. But once you run with it, but that speed reading, I think I did something like, I think it was about 6 or 7 speed readings, and they just get up and they move and they get up and move and you sit there and then you swap and then you're going through letting them practice. But it's quite interesting. And you had 5 minutes and you had to get as much out as you possibly can and connect with the person at the same time. I had an incident with one lady who was very, very interesting, and I just asked for help because I looked at her and she had this entity wrapped around her body under her arm, and this little black entity with this screwed up face just looked at me, and I thought, hell, I'm not going to get a reading unless I shift this. So I asked for help very quickly. I called in the angels and I called in my guides, and I got that out of there really quickly. And then I could do the reading on this lady, and she felt it all because she was a medium herself. And she said it's the first time that's ever gone after so many years. And then I could give her reading. So I still managed to get a reading in, clear that, and go. And I tell you what, until someone puts you in that situation, you don't realize what you can do. And you have to learn to really trust you and don't
Yes.
worry about your energy. Step into it and embrace it, because it's the first expo I ever done, Yvonne. I went there and I had not a lot of expectations. I was happy to go there, do a few readings, blah, blah, blah. From the moment I sat down from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., I did 12 readings, and I still have people were packing up and I'm still doing readings. And I had no idea where they were all coming from. And I just kept going. I thought, right, these people are here. I can't let them down. And I wasn't going to. And I just kept reading. And when I left there, I thought, wow, I was so energized. I had time for lunch, one brownie slice, and it wasn't laced, thank God. But no, oh, interesting stuff. But yeah, just
It's
bring that.
interesting though, the different, like, well, I did readings in a guru shop for a whole day,
Mm,
and that was completely different from doing it with a whole room of medium psychics, tarot readers.
mm,
Totally different. And it was so high, it was a lot higher. Like the next time around, I did it completely
mm.
different setting, but just the information that came through was, for people was just phenomenal, because you're not hearing everyone else reading as well at the same time, because you're actually
Oh,
focused on one
I didn't
person.
hear a
So
thing.
it's kind of like you put when you're doing the reading, you put a bubble around you, like when you've got lots and lots of people.
Mm,
But you're still picking things up. But I just found that you're even more relaxed when you're actually doing one-on-one continuously with not people around. It's
See, I
very
don't
interesting
use
how
I don't use a
it
bubble.
feels different.
I don't use a bubble. I'd much rather put a violet flame.
It's whatever. Some people put a bubble, some people say an egg, some people say a pyramid. I
Well,
think it's
see,
different for
if you put a violet
different.
flame up, it's transformational. So it allows the
Yeah.
energy in, but anything negative, it's going to transform. Whereas
Mm.
some bubbles won't let things in. So that's so that I can allow myself to be open more in those
Oh,
areas.
it's just I don't know. They call it a bubble of protection, which I said I have never had to have any protection, because I've always been protected from day one
Mm,
since I was 5. So I don't really need protection that way. But they're
mm,
just saying some of the energies that people bring in.
mm. And
It's why people wear black.
that's
People
what the
wear black.
violet flame is for. It's for
Mm.
transforming all those energies and anything that comes into that. And especially with expos, if you put a wall, if you've got like, say for instance, Scientology. I've been to expos with Scientology there, and I've actually put a wall of violet flame up to keep their negative energies on their side. So if it comes this side, it comes through and it's cleared. But that's yeah, that's going into another different level of stuff anyway. And I'm going to go down to Rachel now and see what story she's got tucked away in her little black pocket.
I got no story for you, unfortunately, Janet. I
Oh,
don't have an
Mm,
angel story, um, except for the one that I told you about in when I had like the issue with the blood magic and all that, and that was the only time I actually ever experienced angels.
mm.
But other than that, nothing.
Well, you can tell that here because we're talking about angels here, so you can tell it again.
Again,
Yeah, Virginia hasn't heard it.
I haven't heard it. I'd love to hear
I
it.
haven't.
Mm,
I don't
there you
mind
go.
hearing it again.
Mm,
well, years ago, it was probably not that long ago. It was probably about, I don't know, 10 years ago or something like that. It was about around 2014 or something. I used to be in this Hecate Crossroads group, and there was and I was really happy being in that group. And there was another guy that was in there, and decided that he was going to start up a coven, a separate coven for Hecate, and it was going to be called Hecate Rising. And he asked me if I wanted to join, so I said, "Yeah, all right, I'll join." Um, and there was me plus another 11 um, other witches, and they were all from America. And then the guy that made the group, he was number 13, and he was he decided that he was going to class himself as the King Witch. because he made the group, so he was very up himself. But I was just like stoked because I'd always wanted to join a coven. And I'm thinking, oh wow, here's my chance to do so. And so for probably about a year or something, it was a really good group. And then there was another person that wanted to join the group, and the rest of the participants were like, no, we don't want that person in there. They've caused trouble and blah blah blah. And of course the King Witch says, oh, he says, well, he goes, I know him. And he goes, I know them, and they haven't done anything wrong to me. And he actually created a bit of a split in the group and decided he was going to create a separate coven for this particular person. And he asked me to join. And I was very naive back then. I didn't really know much. Didn't know like what I know now. And anyway, I joined that group and we were doing different magic that I'd never done before, and it was high magic, and it was King Solomon type magic type thing, and we had to create a doorway, and it was a doorway for using blood magic, which I'd never used with that before either. And I ended up opening up this doorway to another dimension, which I don't know where the fudge it was. And something came through, and I remember taking a picture of it, and that was afterwards. And it was just a horrible, horrible experience. Nobody wanted to come visit us anymore, and everybody just felt like really, really low in energy. It was like somebody was just coming up and just sucking the energy dry from you. Um, and I didn't know what to do, so um, I ended up leaving. I believe I ended up leaving that group. Probably about a couple of months afterwards, after being in that group, it was just like I just don't like it. And the other group that I was in, they all sort of fell apart and everybody sort of like split away. But I still had this entity thing, whatever it was, inside my house. So I have a friend that lives up in Queensland, and and I've known her for quite a few years, and I know that she does clearings and things like that. So I contacted her and asked her if she could help me like remove this thing, whatever it was. Um, she said yes, that she would, and she said that we're going to do the lesser banishing pentagram ritual, and we're going to call in the angels, and we're going to call in the four archangels. So it was Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Ariel, and we called them in, and before we did the ritual first, and my husband helped as well, and so we had four people. And we got my husband and I, we got our kids out for the weekend, so they went and stayed at grandparents' place, and then we just did this like this ritual. Um, I didn't actually see the angels. I just remember feeling them. I just remember feeling like this really nice warm energy, and I felt like I was like really protected. Um, and my husband never really worked with gods or goddesses or anything like that, and I was still working with Hecate, so he asked Thor to come in and help. And there was this, he called on Thor's hammer to help, and we were able to push this entity out the door, and it was like it was standing on the driveway, and this big Thor's hammer came out of the shed, and it came hurtling down the driveway and ended up taking this thing out and smashed it all the way out to the middle of the road. And once the black shape disappeared, the hammer went with it, and that was the end of that. And then my friend ended up sealing up the door with light, and we thanked the angels for coming to assist us. And then they left, and then yeah, and that was it. So that was my scary story, but I do remember because I told my friend, I said, "Look, it's around here, you know, it's like near the front door area." And she said, "Well, can you take some photos of it?" So when I tried to take photos of it, it kept on draining the battery out of my phone. So I ended up having to put the phone charger into my phone and taking photos that way to get rid of it. and then send it off to her, and then she said, "Oh," she goes, "Oh, you got one of those? Yeah, well, I know what to do with that." And it's like, well, good, because I don't. But since that experience, I never did blood magic ever, ever, ever again. I was just too fucking scared. It's like, no way, not doing that ever again.
There is an angel out there, the Carians, who they actually deal with the dark entities, and they will carry them away if you ever have dark entities in your house.
Okay.
Mm. And they're connected with the ravens, so they've got that energy around them. But they'd be able to come onto Earth now because they're in a higher dimensional level. But that we've actually lifted the level around the planet now that they would be able to come through. And when you see them, they will come through as they've got like their wings are white with an orange tint through them, is how you will see them. So if you call them, any time there's any dark entities, they will come in and remove them.
What are they called, Janet?
Yeah, I was just going to ask, what are they called?
The Carians.
The Carians.
Mm.
What's that? K-E-R-I?
No, it's Carrions, and it's sort of pronounced the Carians. Carians.
Okay.
I missed that. I'll have to write that down.
Yeah.
Not the Kerrigans.
Close. And they're on the 6th level.
So how did you spell that again?
Oh, geez, Kerry.
No, I've got my paper and pen now.
Oh, Carrions.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. And they're on the 6th level of the angels.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hmm.
I had it's I don't know whether it's an angel or not, but when I came back to Victoria from living and working up on the islands, I felt like there was an entity that had attached to me, and it made me feel very dark, very depressed, very flat, sucking my energy. I don't remember the lady that I went and seen, but she got me to put the purple flame. I said to her about putting the purple flame. So she encouraged the purple flame. We did the purple flame, but this thing was reaching through the purple flame towards me. So I came up with the idea that I would make fireballs out of the purple flame. And I was throwing left, right, and center these fireballs at this thing, and it just eventually caught light because I just kept throwing pelting it with these purple flame fireballs. And it lit up, and it just burnt down to ashes, and it was gone.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
I love the violet flame. It's
me too.
Things. And
You've taught me a lot about the violet flame.
M. Come on, Em.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just listening. You know how I like to talk, Janet. I always, when I come here, I always love to listen to like everyone else. Okay, angel stories. Well, I do have actually a really cool angel story, and I actually don't directly work too much with angels in all honesty. I have had them come in and out of like my spirit team, like when I've needed them, like one sort of turned up for a little while and then kind of goes off. And I did have very early sort of in my journey, I remember lying in bed and I was doing some sort of meditation, and I almost felt like a wind like had like sort of moved over me, and I had just had this vision of like an angel wing that had just kind of like flapped across my body, which was super cool. I've never had that happen again, but it did happen to me then, and it sort of made me feel like, oh, I'm on the right path type of thing. But my really cool angel story, that I haven't actually told this story very often, so I'll try and make it short because
it's okay.
It's a long story, but and it took me a little while to actually also work it out. So it was kind of one of those things where what the F just happened, and then it took me some like unpacking situation. So I was working in a warehouse, and often I'd work by myself. So I did the admin and I did the work, the warehouse. It was just a small family business. And this one day, I was actually sitting at my desk, and something caught the side of my corner of my eye, and which isn't unusual, right? But this time I actually turned, and in the air was like hovering this white, like all I can explain it as, like it looked like a snowflake,
Mm.
but it was hovering, and it wasn't an animal, it wasn't an insect. So as it was kind of hovering and I was looking at it, it was just kind of here, and I was just like, where have you come from, and who are you, and what the F is this about? And I remember just observing it for a while, and all it just looked like was this pure white snowflake, but it was kind of like just hovering. And I
Mhm.
knew it wasn't an insect. It didn't look like an insect, and I just knew it wasn't an insect. So as I was sitting it, I was like, okay, all right, I'm up for this. I'm up. Okay, tell me what's going on. And I put my hand out, and I thought, I wonder if I like just put my hand out instinctively. And it actually came and landed in my hand here. It was probably about that big, like 1 centimeter maybe. It just sat in my hand, and it was just kind of like almost just like not vibrating, do you know what I mean? But it was just
Yeah.
moving like very gently, and I was just studying it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, why are you here? Like, what do I need to know about this? And I was like in awe, and it was kind of one of those moments where you know that you're just not reaching for the phone because it's so magical and it was so personal that I just knew it was only for me.
Mhm.
And then for some reason, I decided to see if I could touch it. So I kind of was like, oh, I wonder if I can like touch it. And as soon as I touched it, obviously it vanished, just disappeared. And I expected my hand to be wet. It was so weird because it just looked like a big snowflake. Anyway, that was that experience. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And what's going on? So I kind of went down this little rabbit hole, and I was like, I had the feeling that this was a baby angel. So I started Googling baby angels and different things like that. Anyway, fast forward, probably about a week, I had a girl come into where I worked, and she had given me her name. She'd come to pick up some, it was like a artificial flower place. And she had come to pick up some flowers. So she gave me her name, and she was like, I don't know, I can't remember. Actually, I probably can. Her name was Aurora Jade, psychic medium, but she was wearing a Jetstar outfit, right? So she was actually dressed in a Jetstar outfit, but that was obviously her side business. And I remember saying to her, oh, is that what you do? So we're like going way back. Is that what you do? And she was like, oh, what? And I was like, a psychic medium. She was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And she was like, what? And I was like, oh, no, nothing, like nothing. Like, I'm not about to do the whole nurse thing on you. Like, oh, you're a nurse. Like, can you have a look at this? Like, I'm not about to do that. And she was like, no, no, tell me. So I explained to her what had happened. And she said to me, she said, I'm going to ask you something sensitive. Have you actually lost a child? And I said, actually, I haven't, Noah. And she just said, she looked at me and she went, someone really close to you has lost a baby. And I was like, yes. And anyway, she just literally launched into like telling me that this baby was the baby that actually my mum had lost, and that my granddad was there, had brought the baby through, and all this information. And it was so weird because I'd worked at this business 4 years, and I've never seen this woman before. Like she had never walked in my door in the 4 years that I had worked there. And I couldn't find her on the computer. Like I couldn't find her business. It was just like, one of those things. And what then happened was I then had this vision, and I had like this download after she left about a message that I had to pass on to my mum. And the message was that my mum had never known when she lost this baby. So she lost him nearly full term. But in those days, she, they didn't used to do the scans. It was all hand, 1970s. And she had never known the day that she had actually lost him. She just had the date that she had birthed him, right? And anyway, to cut a very long story short, when this angel came to me, it was exactly 10 days before she actually birthed him. And then the message that I received was that was the day that he had left. It was that exact day. It was like the 27th of November. And it was the bizarrest thing, because then I was like, now I'm going to pass this on to my mum. But the other thing that happened is, after the Jetstar lady walked out of the warehouse, Robbie Williams's Angels fucking come on the radio as she walked out the door. And then I got this, it was like a knowing. I just had this like overwhelming knowing that he was telling me that was the day that he had passed. And it was the one thing that my mum had always said. She never actually knew, because she'd gone to the doctor and they'd said, you're fine. And actually she wasn't. And her baby passed in vitro 36 weeks. And he was born before me. And I always knew of him. And then, so I actually ended up telling my mom this story about what had happened, and that I'd had this like dream that he had come to me and told me that, that this was the passing, blah, blah, blah. And she carries one of those, those little travel angels, you can get them and you put them in. She always has one in her handbag. And she messaged me and she said, I had this overwhelming feeling to go and look for this angel, and my handbag's always there, and it was gone. It was missing. She opened all her bag out. She opened the lining. She looked through the lining, make sure there's no holes, nothing. It was disappeared. And I was like, really? Like, you've probably just misplaced it or something, all that thing. Anyway, there was that story. Fast forward, probably about 18 months later, I went over to the UK to see her, and I was staying with her. And then we went on this road trip to Edinburgh, to Scotland. And we were in the car together, her and I, my daughter was in the back. And we'd been together for a few days already. She had her handbag. She had her handbag on her knee, and she went to get something out the handbag, and she opened it, and the angel was right on the top of the handbag. It was like, she just opened her handbag and she just went, and I was like, I'm driving. I'm like, what's wrong? And she's like, the angel is on the top of the bag. So it was almost like it reappeared when we were back together. So we were all together. So that's my cool story about baby angels, and how now my brother, I work quite closely with him. So he hasn't reincarnated. He is still on the other side. And when I'm in readings, if there is a baby to be brought forward, he does that for me. And it's always babies that are lost. So it's always, I just know immediately when I'm reading if this person has a baby that's been lost. And he helps me with that. And yeah, it was absolutely mind blowing. Like, if somebody like told me that story, I'd be like, back off, get out of here. Like, I'd literally, that's how I would, you know what I mean? It's like one of those stories where if it doesn't happen to you, it's like, how the heck does things like that happen? Like, I've had stuff teleported, but the fact that it turned back up this angel when we were together in the car, and then it was almost like he was saying, like, I'm here, I'm with, my family. It was pretty cool. And he is my only full sibling as well. Yeah. So
that's amazing. It's funny how they do that.
Yes. It's so cool. I know. But yeah, it was, and this was like really when I was doing the avoiding the thing, you know. So I was doing the avoiding, like I know that you're there, but I'm not quite ready to look like this life's too busy and this is too busy and I don't know if I want to go there. So I was
Yeah.
kind of doing that a bit, and that's when all of these like really big things start to happen, because obviously I was being frying pan on the head, you know,
And more
scenario.
procrastinating.
Yes, it was, I knew it was there, and I'm like, I'll come to you, but I knew I was kind of avoiding it. And then lots of these bigger things started to happen to the point where it was like impossible for me to ignore the situation anymore. But what was beautiful about that was how it all like pieced together, and how then I had the awareness that he wanted to let me know that this was something my mum had always struggled with, you know, from that experience of not knowing when he actually did pass away. So it was actually quite comforting for her to receive that. Yeah.
Nice. It'll be healing for her as
Oh
well.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
100%, definitely.
Beautiful.
And
That's
closure.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's what it was, that just awareness that, oh my gosh, this is 10 days before he was born. This is what he's trying to tell me now, that this was the day he came to me, on the day that he passed, to tell me that was the day. But I've never experienced, like, I have had like lots of weird shit happen to me, but I don't think I've ever experienced something as profound as that, as you know, having this little thing, entity, angel, like just so beautiful, like sitting on my hand.
Yes. There are smaller ones, there's bigger ones, there's all different sizes of them. So yeah, that's quite beautiful. And I just noticed Rachel's been drawing while she's been sitting in this group. I wonder what what have you done? Show us now. You can't get away with it.
What have you done?
Yeah.
Well, before I came on, I did actually draw one of my guides that like he's been waiting patiently for me to draw him. So I haven't finished him yet, but this is what I've got so far.
Oh, nice.
So his name is Chiral.
Awesome.
Chiral.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I did draw a spirit. She gave me the initials G and L. She's a sister-in-law of somebody. She died through suicide. I heard Lady in Red song, and I heard Love You in Bunches. And a compliment she got was that she got told that she looked like Julia Roberts a lot. And this is the picture I got.
Wow. Might have even been for Yvonne. She's gone.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody recognizes it. Did you know this lady?
Come on, V, is this for you?
Maybe I had a friend who suicided, and before she suicided, she had a dream. Actually, I think this would be a really good other topic of discussion, would be dreams. And
Yeah, we've got that on the list.
I would be very interested in that, because I'm a person who dreams and sees things. But she actually came to me to talk to me about a dream she had about her cousin that had suicided a few years earlier. And her cousin was getting ready for a wedding, was getting all dressed up and in the dream, and was very excited. And then she as well. So was almost like there was this preparation or something that. And I was saying to her, well, she's obviously excited about something coming for you in the future, you know, whereas she saw it as, well, it's great over there. I might just go join her. But yeah, they're getting ready and being for a party and all that. What was her name? Her initials were D. can't remember her last name, and she used like a bit of a nickname, you know. I don't know. I don't know if it's her or not.
Did she wear white gloves that went up to the elbows?
I'm not sure. She used to wear because she was from a different culture and she used to wear cultural clothing.
Yep.
So that may be symbolic of I wore, you know, different sort of clothing. I'm not sure whether she wore gloves or not, but she would have worn like saris and that sort of thing that
Yep.
people wear. I'm not sure.
You know, this lady had really dark black curly hair, and it's sort of like put up in a. It's hard to
She had
tell in the
dark
picture,
black curly hair.
but
Yeah.
the hair was like held up in like a ponytail kind of thing, and it was just sort of the curls looked really pretty. It was just spilling over her face.
Yeah, she would have wore her hair like that. She did have lovely dark hair. Um, could maybe her.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe her.
just another random spirit just wants their face up there.
Step in and say hello. Yeah,
No different to half the people in the world, just want to get their face on TV.
probably. Getting back to the medical procedures and spiritual intervention, I've had a couple of strange phenomena that have occurred over the last couple of years. I've had general anesthesia a couple of times. Now, when was it? I'm just thinking, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago now. I went in for gallbladder surgery. And as I was getting wheeled in, you know, there was the main hallway, then there was a little room, and then there was the surgical room. And when I was just in the middle room, you know, there were the double doors that went out to the, you know, the hallway, the double doors that went into theatre, and they were on automatic sort of, you know, where they sensor operated. And so it was just me and the anesthesiologist there, and so her and I were there, and all of a sudden these doors all flew open at the same time, and she jumped. She was very scared, and I realized that this was phenomena that occurs, you know, being a medium. And I said to her, "Did that frighten you?" She said, "It shivered." She said it gave me a shiver. And I said to her, "Are you a person that believes in spiritual activity or not?" She said, "Culturally, I am, but the scientist in me says no. But this is occurring and I don't know what it is." And I said, "It's okay." And she said it could be the change in the different temperatures because the surgical room it's very cold, and it's the temperature that's setting it off. But as she was talking, when the doors flew open, I saw this a doctor in spirit rush. He was rushed and he was really busy and he was sorting things out and he was on it. And I said to her, "I think you'll," she said, "but I'm scared of it." I said, "Don't be scared. I think you'll find it's here to help." She said, "You think it's," and then she opened up and she said, "Do you believe it's here to help? Because I'm scared that it's messing with things." I said, "No, it's definitely here to help." So when that happens, just be alert and be aware and ask for guidance and you'll be right. She said, "Okay." And I don't think we would have had that conversation if there weren't just her and I. But anyway, then she gave me the anesthesia, and I went in for surgery. Now, what happened in that surgery was the bottom two chambers of my heart dropped out, and I was without oxygen for a minute and a half and a minute, and I had to be revived. My heart kept collapsing. And when they took me out of that surgery, you know, I was in, you know, and then I realized, oh, the spirit, that's what the spirit was there to help, obviously, with what was going to happen to me. Anyway, what happened was I was told that my body, and this is a phenomena that does occur with me, that my body registers the pain even when I'm under anesthesia, and my body will react that way. It'll go into, whatever it does. And that's how it was explained to me. But another nurse came in after and said, no, I heard the heart doctors talking outside and they overdosed you with the anesthesia. They gave you too much. So she'd obviously made a mistake there. But for me, it was that confirmation that spirit are always 3 steps ahead and are there, And recently, about 6 months ago, I had to go under again. I was having a spinal and a neck procedure. And before we went in, again, I was in that little room and I was just setting my intention and praying. And in came this surgeon. He was a lovely man, and he went into the operating theatre and he pulled everybody together and he said, come on, guys, I'm here. This is how I do things. And they all huddled around in a group and they prayed. They set their intention. And then I went in and the same phenomena happened. But what happened this time is I woke up. I woke up in the middle of this, procedure on my spine, like a very sensitive operation. And I just started channeling. I knew I was awake. And spirit were dropping in messages. And again, I was just giving the message to the anesthesiologist about the dosage and what they needed to do, which was funny. But again, I came out and I was just so grateful that even the surgeon had called spirit in before surgery. Like they are, and I feel that in doing that, they were all very grounded and very present in the moment, So, it showed me the importance of presence and to set your intention with spirit before, going through something. And 2 weeks ago, I went in, I had the same surgery again on my surgical procedure under anesthesia for my neck and my spine. And what happened there was my body started to react to the pain again. And then they gave me a drug, but then it caused my blood pressure to drop a lot. And they had to do some things to set that straight. But before I had gone in again, I set that intention for the presence of spirit to be there. And I just, I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, but I just feel like it's very interesting how spirit can step in the middle of acute medical stuff as well and make their presence known. And when those around are open to spiritual intervention and can set their intention beforehand, it can have a really big difference in the outcome for everybody involved. And I feel like that's important. It's an important, I think, conversation to have around people that live with health conditions, people that care for people with health conditions, and also, with doctors, nurses, where you, I don't know, like I guess even in the medical field, it will, spirit will make themselves known, and it'll challenge your belief systems, Anyway, I felt that was interesting phenomena, and I'm curious to see if other people have experienced similar things.
Well, I told my story earlier. I had.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was just going to say, when I was doing remote area nursing, I was regularly visiting a patient that I do home visits. It was out in the bush. And her son had been burnt to death by his wife.
Yeah.
And her and the 2 daughters had set him alight with petrol. But she made the story that there were 2 men that came to the door and threatened her, and he stepped in to protect her. they'd thrown petrol, and so that was the story that she told. But my client, who was his mum, she's quite intuitive, and she felt something wasn't right, and she knew that her son's wife was very she came from a very violent background, and it was almost like domestic violence in reverse. Anyway, she come across, or she found out that when they called the ambulance and took him to the hospital, that the wife had gone to my client's daughter's house and said, can I please have some fresh clothes before I go to the hospital? Anyway, turns out, long story short, she's guilty, right? They worked out, they put all the pieces together, and she's in jail now for murder or whatever it is. But she was sitting there one day when I was visiting her, and she was bawling her eyes out. She said, I just remember the last time I saw him, he didn't look like my son. And I was sitting on the other side of the table, and I felt like I was being shoved in the back, like shove, to the point where I was getting shoved that hard. The hand was going through into my stomach and making me feel sick and nauseated. And in the end, I said, look, I'm sorry, I've got to stop you for a minute. I said, I believe your son is here right now, and he's shoving me in the back that hard that he's not going to stop. Can I please give you a message? She said, yes, by all means. And the message was, he said, Mum, stop thinking about that day that is the last time you saw me. I do not look like that anymore. I'm perfect. My skin's beautiful. I'm feeling really good, and I'm perfect, and I'm fantastic. And I want you to remember me that way and not the other way. And it was just like this calm came over the whole room, and it was like, oh, that's, yeah, okay, that's really nice. Thank you for that message. I feel much better thinking of my son that way rather than the way I last saw him in the ED, burnt to a crisp. But yeah, that was really
well, that's
weird.
nice.
Yeah, it was a really strange sensation. And he really was shoving me in the back and shoving his hand through my stomach. So it made me feel very nauseated until I gave his mum the message.
I know they can be naughty like that.
Yeah.
I've been smacked on the back of the head several times.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another one. Anyway, ladies, thank you for your time tonight. And that I'm going to turn off the recording. But yeah, no, it's been a great stories, and I enjoy listening to everybody's stories. It's great. Thank you for sharing them with everybody. And